Kami sampai sudah.
Dari mula mereka masuk, pertama sekiranya mereka sudah untuk ABA, saya tidak menjalankan ABA yang konvensional. ABA yang kami apply di sini adalah lebih modern, di mana kami tidak akan paksa budak. Sekiranya budak tuh tidak mau buat, kami akan coba cari cara untuk fokus on different skills untuk address dia punya current skills. So apabila budak tuh dia masuk di sini, and then dia perlu buat ini task A, tapi dia tidak mau buat task A, kami akan fokus kepada cara macam mana dia boleh mengatakan tidak kepada ini dengan cara yang kita boleh terima. Contohnya mungkin dia akan bagi ensign no, ataupun dia boleh say no, ataupun dia boleh geleng kepala. Itu kami terima sebagai salah satu request ataupun komunikasi dari mereka yang reject itu. So apa yang kami address di sana ialah proper way to reject things, instead of yang macam mereka berteriak, menangis, berlari. Kami akan fokus on macam mana mereka boleh menidakkan sesuatu dengan cara yang kita boleh terima. So dari sana kami akan bagi mereka masak dan akan coba sekali lagi.
Okay. Madam Prudence, may you briefly describe the mission and main services offered by this organization?
We have services that are related to disabilities. So children with mainly the kids that come here have communication and behavioral issues. So the services we have are speech therapy, of course, occupational therapy. We also have physiotherapy now, and we have, it's loosely called behavior intervention because we don't strictly follow the traditional ABA. Yeah, so we have that as well as we have groups as well, and groups are mainly to address children's communication skills. In terms of the mission, now when I started Therapy Tree, which is 20 years ago, it was mainly to provide services, especially speech therapy and behavior intervention, to children and their families. Those that have autism mainly, because back then there were not many services. And so I thought, okay, let's provide services. And the only ones that we could get access to was those that they had flown in from the US. And they were mainly in West Malaysia, not here. So because of that, I started Therapy Tree with my sister, and from there.
Next question: what population do you primarily serve, and what common challenges do you see among?
You mean population of kids, right?
Yes.
Okay. We mainly see children with, like I said, communication challenges, and these are mainly kids who are on the autistic spectrum. So we have large number of kids with autism. Some of them have been diagnosed, some not yet. But basically, any child that has communication challenges, a lot of them have been described as being speech delayed. Speech delay is a general term that most people use to describe speech, language, communication. Yeah, so that's one of the main populations. The other one is children who have behavioral challenges. And I shouldn't say behavioral challenges because what we are trying to do now is move away from categorizing them with behavior challenges to distress behaviors. Yeah. So these are kids that who have tried going to school. Parents have tried teaching them at home, but they have all these wonderful behaviors.
What is, according to you, what is behavior modification, and can you teach us more about it?
The principles of behavior modification looks at something in the environment that triggers a behavior. So there's always a stimulus in the environment that triggers a behavior. So when we look at it from a practical point of view with children, or for example, like you, the behavior is coming here. And if you look at what is making you come here is because you need to pass your exams, right? Okay. So there's always that, yeah? So there's always something within the environment that is causing a behavior, okay? So when we have behavior modification coming in, and we look at our kids here, kan? So we have kids who bite, who scratch, who scream, who spit, who do all these wonderful things. We want to know what's causing it, and we want to know how we can modify that behavior so that it's socially more appropriate. Because most of the time, that's why kids get referred to us. They're doing all these behaviors out in the public and schools, and it's not really readily acceptable. Yeah. So we try our best to understand the behavior. So it's always understanding the behavior. What is the cause of the behavior? And then from there, then we can say, okay, how do we modify it? Without knowing what is causing the behavior, we cannot modify it. Yeah, because if not, it'll come back again.
Which behavioral theories or frameworks that guide your center's intervention?
Well, now, when I originally started a long time ago, there was Lovas. So there was a lot of how Lovas did his work. Okay. But then it never sat well with me because I thought it was a little bit too harsh. I think if you go on YouTube and you Google and you type in ABA, you'll come up with all these very horrible old behavior videos that are not very nice. Where was I? Yeah, so you had all these behavior therapists who were quite nasty to children and all that. So although we did start with the Lovas kind of behavior intervention before, I began to search more, and then I came across verbal behavior, which relies on B.F. Skinner's theories. So it's mainly that one that we use, a lot of verbal behavior, because verbal behavior sort of resonated with me when I read about it, when I learned about it. So yeah, I mean, it is ABA, but it's more verbal behavior. And after that, I am now doing something called the Competent Learner Model, which also relies on B.F. Skinner's work, but it's a lot more playful and gentle.
So, Madam, how do you define behavior modification within the context of the services?
I think whenever when we have meetings, and we have kids that are not able to participate, unwilling to participate, who basically don't want to be with us. They see you, they run the other way. Okay, so that's a behavior that we would like to change, because we want to play with the child, we want to develop communication and all this. So, and that happens in anything. It can be a behavior session, it can be a speech session, OT, physio, movement, whatever. So I always tell the team, I say, you need to understand why the child is running away from you. Are they associating you, or are they associating any adult with, you're not fun, I don't want to play with you? In which case, we need to change that. So we need to pair. It's a process called pairing with the child, whereby we do a lot of child-led therapy here. So child-led means we let the child decide what they want to do. So like, for example, that child that came in, so his thing is alphabet. So every time it's a session, it's alphabet. So sometimes people will say, oh no, we need to remove that because he's too distracted with it. So I normally say, well, you need to understand why he likes that. It could be that that is for him comfort because he knows his alphabets. He knows how to arrange it from A to Z. So that is his source of, you got your bantal babau, kan? That is his. And it makes him feel comfortable. So that's why you need to understand the behavior in anything that you do before you want to change it, before you want to try and improve it, I suppose.
And what types of behavior challenges are most commonly seen in the children?
Running off, biting, hitting, spitting, screaming, pulling hair, scratching, that kind of behaviors.
So, what methods or interventions are primarily used to address this behavior?
Again, going back, we need to understand those behaviors, those distressing behaviors. When you have a child that sort of you already prepare your session, you take it out, and the child goes, no! And you go, okay, do I force this child to do it? Or do I modify my task so that it's more fun to do it? And I still achieve my goals. Yeah, it's just that I need to quickly modify how I present it to him or her. So that's it. We try and modify what we are doing, yeah, to see if we can change that behavior, So like if the behavior of the child is that he doesn't want to do it, then we say, okay, let's see, how do I make it more fun? I still achieve my goal. How do I do that? Yeah.
Do you maybe have examples?
Okay. This morning I had a child who is he has a language disorder. And he's also a Gestalt language processor, which means that he learns language differently from the majority of kids. He learns language through repeating things that he's heard on TV, phrases and all that lah. So anyway, but he also happens to be a very smart little boy whose academic language is very good, but it's his social language. He can't get a message across appropriately or effectively. So anyway, he decided that he wanted to play with my vegetable sauteing activity. So I thought, okay, let him do that. But prior to that, I had already prepared some formal work that I wanted to do with him. So it was like, okay, I'll follow your lead first. Then I did a countdown. I said, look, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then we're going to keep everything on the table, and you have to do what I want you to do. So 5 minutes came. He wasn't very happy, but he did it. And then when I took out the formal work, he goes, no, push. He started hopping around the room, jumping, obviously not wanting to do it. So the activity that I had prepared for him was basically unscrambling sentences. It's just like the brown bear is walking, and then the sentences, each word would be in a different box, and then you need to arrange it, which he can do very well. Just doesn't want to do it because it's formal activity. So I said, oh, it's okay, we're gonna do it together. You don't have to sit down and do it. You can walk around and do it. It's fine. So then he was still like, no. I said, okay, look, I just got a pen, and I use my marker pen. I'm gonna write, what do you think this is? And he looks at me and he pointed to something intentionally wrong. And then of course I said, oh no, that's the wrong one. And he found that very funny. My very melodramatic expression. And I was like, oh, it's so funny. It's just so funny. So after that, he did the whole entire activity with me, and we finished. But if I had forced him and sat him down and said, you have to do it, it would have been a big struggle. But when I decided I'm not going to present it like that, I'm going to change the way I present it, make it a little bit silly, make it a little bit fun, put in some game-like sounds, like it's wrong. Then it was fun, and then he finished it. Yeah, so something like that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Then, how do you ensure the strategies used are individualized to each child's need?
Each child is assessed before they come here. So normally it's me doing the assessments, because when they get referred to me, and it's usually to do with their speech or language issues, so I normally assess them. If not me, then the OT will assess them. Okay, so when they come in, after the assessment, they will come in, and then we will do something called a placement test. So a placement test tells us where we can place them on our curriculum. Yeah. So if a child can do this, they go on to lesson 1. If the child can do this, and that, and then they go further up. So each child has that. So some kids may start off on the same lesson, and then after that, because they're so different, the program is individualized. So it always starts with assessments.
What ethical considerations does the center follow when implementing behavior modification?
Okay. There are no coercive practices here. Coercive practices means when any of the staff come in here, I think I'm one of the few centers who do it, but within the contract, they are not allowed to do. You don't lay a hand on the child, you don't belittle the child, you don't hit, scratch. I will give you 24 hours notice if I find out. So I don't allow coercive practices. I don't believe in coercive practices, although parents will tell us, kau pukul saja dia. Do you want me to bring the rubber band? No, don't bring your rubber band. We don't use things like that here. No, if you use the rubber band, they will listen to you. I said, no, we are not going to do that here. So things like that. Yeah, so I'm quite strict with that, because many of our kids are non-speaking, so they can't tell us, so I thought, you can't do that.
What qualifications, skills, or personal qualities are important for someone working in this?
Start with personal qualities first. You need to have a good sense of humor. Honestly, if you are too serious when you work with children, then it's just not going to work. I've seen so many people, they're just too serious, and you think you need to be a bit more playful. You're working with kids. You need to be playful. You need not to take things so seriously. What we are doing is serious, but at the same time, you need to be able to laugh at mistakes. So good sense of humor, kindness. We don't know what the families are going through. Before we make judgments, we just need to be a bit more kind. Sense of humor, kindness. I think those are the two big things that I would look at. And this, you need to believe that the child can do it, and not just give up and say, yeah. What do I enjoy most about it? I think watching the kids, watching them be happy, watching them play, watching any tiny bit of what you say success any bit of that for me is what I enjoy the most, because every little step is so much. I mean, being a parent myself, I know that even if, oh my God, look, he pointed at that thing today, it's like, wow, such a huge thing. So I think what what being in this profession has taught me is gratitude. You are grateful for all those little things that most people don't know, you know. So that's what it's taught me.
Lawatan ke Rapid Tree Center memberi saya kepahaman yang sangat bermakna tentang nilai sebenar dalam profesi kerja sosial. Melalui pemerhatian dan sesi temu bual, saya sendiri dapat melihat bagaimana staf berinteraksi dengan kanak-kanak secara mesra, ceria, dan profesional. Pengalaman ini menyadarkan saya bahwa untuk kekal sebagai seorang pekerja sosial, seseorang bukan hanya memerlukan ilmu akademik, tetapi juga sikap empati, kesabaran, dan keikhlasan dalam membantu klien.
Saya dapat mengetahui bagaimana cara pengurusan kanak-kanak yang bermasalah dari langkah demi langkah. Seterusnya, saya juga dapat melihat realiti sebenar bagaimana pengurusan kanak-kanak ini dilakukan, yang mana ia meningkatkan ilmu pengetahuan saya.
Dengan pengetahuan ini, saya dapat menyesuaikan pendekatan intervensi supaya lebih terstruktur, sabar, dan fokus kepada kekuatan kanak-kanak, bukan pada kekurangan mereka sahaja.
Oops. Hello. Oh no, Giselle. He's looking for alphabet. Okay. You got it? It's okay. Where was I?